You hear that loud sound out there?
No,
Arun, please tell me that wasn't you sitting down.
no comment.
That was an earthquake. Welcome back to the show, everyone. It's the Higher Standard, and we're still making fun of Arun.
No, not we. Not
Okay,
we.
you're still making fun of Arun.
Wow.
Oh, you
Welcome
decided,
back.
you decided to be anti-villain this episode?
Wow. Welcome back, everybody.
Introduce yourself, goddammit.
Yeah, my name is Saied Omar. That over there is Chris Nahibi. Him outside over there is Odun.
We never do that. I just want to see if you do it if I told you to do it. All right, so this week, despite all the fun start, is a shitty week. I'm just going to call it what it is. It was a shitty week.
It's fucked up, man.
It's fucked up. That is a technical term. I think Jerome Powell used it when he addressed everybody with his FOMC meeting debrief.
Oh, we got to be careful, by the way. We had a listener tell us that they listened to the show with their 13-year-old daughter.
What a stud. He said
What?
him and his daughter look forward to every Tuesday and Friday.
I didn't get his name, but whoever you are, we appreciate you.
Whoever you are, you're a terrible human being.
And your daughter.
I mean, you that was your cue to let us know who it was.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
Wow.
I'm going to say this right now out the gate, okay? I don't want to be a dick. I've gotten to the point now where I am so inundated, and a lot of this is like current economy driven.
Mhm.
I am so inundated with just text messages and Instagram stuff. Like, social media is taking a huge backseat for me right now.
Wow.
Like, I don't have time to respond to, like, a lot of people. And whenever I respond, it's like 15, 20 at a time, and it's rapid fire.
Really?
Yeah, and I make the same dick joke to all of them and just move on. Personalize the conversation.
Personally, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this week, let's get right to it. The Dow has tumbled more than 300 points as the banking sector worries reignite before the Fed decision. And guess what? The Fed decision, well, 25 basis points you've probably already heard.
Mhm.
And then Jerome Powell comes out and says something like, oh, you know what? Bank sector's safe. Everything is fine.
Liar.
He's a lying piece of shit.
Yeah. You're not fooling America.
You're not fooling America. I do have a clip, which I did not put in the show notes, which I will send to Arun right now, that I do want to play of Jerome Powell's little speech.
Afterwards,
Shtick.
I can't believe all the major news outlets cut that part out.
No, not that one. not that one. Not that one. An actual clip from him. There is an AI version circulating the internet where he's like, I was wrong.
Yeah.
The banking sector is really fucked up, and I'm just trying to get a better price on banks for my Uncle Jamie Dimon.
Right.
So we're going to talk about how all of this unfolded, what it did to the banking sector damn near 2 hours after Jerome Powell spoke.
Right. Because we'll get into it. Sorry.
You're apologizing?
Yeah.
As you should, boy.
Yeah.
As you should. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how all of this then pivots with the data that we have, like payroll and some of the regional banks and how they've closed and stock markets are moving as a result of all of it,
Right.
and some of the fallout that we've seen after all of this has happened.
Yes.
So, and for those of you who think, oh my God, this show's been really all about banking lately, you can thank the local media for that, because that's all they've been talking about.
That's all they're talking about. And quite frankly, like, these are all signs of what's to come.
Although I will say today, the rhetoric in the news was very different. And we'll end a little bit kind of later in the show about what that really is. But let's start with the warm up, okay? Let's start with what happened leading up to it. And before we get to this, Arun, let's go to the article that you just had up there on the left, the Dow tumbling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, as is common with most lead-ups to an FOMC meeting, the market tries to price in what they think is going to be the interest rate increase.
Right.
Or cut. We just haven't experienced those in a while,
Yes.
right? So this article from CNBC came out and said the Dow tumbles more than 300 points as the banking sector worries reignite before the Fed rate decision, and they had live updates.
Right.
Okay, so the entire regional bank sector took a pretty significant pounding.
Mm-hmm.
And you know me, I love poundings. But that being said, it was clearly different for regional banks than it was for the globally systematic important banks, or the GSIBs.
Mm-hmm.
This from that same CNBC article. Stocks fell sharply Tuesday, led lower by declines in bank shares as traders braced for the latest Fed Reserve policy announcement. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 458 points, or 1.3%. The S&P 500 also slid by 1.3%, and the NASDAQ Composite dropped 1%.
Mm-hmm.
Small and large banks fell as traders questioned the future of some regional financial institutions after the crisis that engulfed Wall Street in March. There was a lot of bank runs in March, for those of you who need to be reminded.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, it was one of the scariest times in banking I'll never forget. Regional banks, PacWest and Western Alliance had trading paused after tumbling more than 20%. So I wanted to spend some time on this because these two names are going to come up a lot.
Yes.
Okay, so when a stock falls more than 20%,
Right.
they will pause trading for a window of time and then reopen trading.
Yep.
And because these stocks had fallen that much, it was pretty bad. And this continued on during after-hours trading after the Fed announcement, so much so that I think at one point PacWest was trading 60% below. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the market, let me explain what I mean by that, okay? So there's a normal in-business hours trading. If you're on the West Coast, the market closes at 1 o'clock. If you're on the East Coast, it closes at 4 p.m., okay?
Right.
That being said, after the close, you can still trade in after-hours trading in kind of let's call it the we think what's going to happen tomorrow market, if you want to call it that.
Right.
Right? So it's not actively trading, but it's trading after the normal close of hours in the market. It is usually pretty indicative of what's going to happen the next morning when the stock market opens up again.
Yes.
So it traded down pretty aggressively. So then, obviously, we all know what happened. Arun, go back up to that original shot there. This was a screen grab from CNBC that exact same time that the Fed announcement was made. Regional banks on the right, Fed funds indication on the left. Fed funds had been increased by 25 basis points. Saied?
Yes, sir.
You knew. You said this was going to happen. It was absolutely something that I think was a foregone conclusion. Did you feel pretty comfortable with what that was? Did you feel?
I was unhappy with the decision.
Okay.
But I think it was already priced into the market. Everyone knew it was going to happen, right? So this marked the 10th consecutive Fed meeting with the interest rate increase. We went from 4.75% to now 5% to 5.25%, right? For the Fed's fund rate. This Fed fund rate target range lines up with what the officials' interest rate projections were back in March. So now we're finally within that target range. If you remember a couple months ago, the Fed released their the SCP report.
Yep.
That said that the Fed funds rate would be somewhere between 5.1 to 5.4%. So we're now officially there. Why people thought that they were going to pause here, I don't know. Jerome Powell said that he wasn't going to. The FOMC member said that they weren't going to. But should they have? I mean, it's starting to look like some of these regional banks aren't going to make it.
So I can explain the why some people thought they were going to pause thing, right? There's a number of people that I think really had concerns of the impacts to the banking sector specifically.
Yes.
And I heard a great analogy the other day. I think this is pretty good. Someone said that the Fed funds rate and what the Fed is doing is like cooking on a hot pan on a stove, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you turn the heat off doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to stop cooking.
Right.
And the suggestion is that yes, we've gotten Fed funds up over 5% at the time now, 5.25% in a single year.
Mm-hmm.
That should in and of itself be a pretty significant concern because it's going to keep cooking. The market's going to keep making moves well after this.
Right.
So we've already seen some numbers come down, but obviously jobs haven't pivoted down the way the Fed wants it to.
Mm-hmm.
And Jerome Powell seems hyper-focused on jobs as a proxy for is inflation moving the right way, in addition to the inflation number in and of itself, right?
Yep.
So I would say, and I don't mean this is going to sound terrible, but I'm going to say it anyway because this is my initial thought.
Okay.
When I heard Powell in the conference, he almost sounded like a really brilliant autistic kid who couldn't think like with his emotions a little bit. He just seemed like he seemed so hyper focused on what the law was and what his mandate was.
I think I have a reasoning as to why he was that way.
Oh, give it to me.
So,
well, hold on a second. Before you do, Arun, I sent you and Saied a text message of the audio clip that I want to play just after this.
mm-hmm.
If you want to load that up. You can airdrop it to the Mac.
Yeah. So in the previous meeting, he came out and this is the statement that he made that's been going around. They're comparing, and we mentioned this. We said everyone's going to be hyper focused on what he's going to say at the meeting, and he's very much aware of that, right?
Right.
So you got to remember that whatever he says, everyone's hyper focused on. Previously, he said there is some additional firming that could be done. That was at the last meeting.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
but see, he's making people be so hyper-focused by not just saying, hey, we feel this type of way about it.
Right, here's the concern, and we're gonna get to this. I was gonna get to this a little bit later, but we can get into it now since the conversation's here. This time he came out and said the Fed is determining whether some additional firming would be appropriate. Now, this is the terminology that's been circling around, right? And what we do know is expectations of what the Fed is going to do, right? Is what keeping treasury yields down. Okay?
Yeah, but that's not a good thing, though.
That's not a good thing. But
in a normalized market, if the world hadn't gone completely fucking insane, I would say rates would probably be closer to 8%.
Can you But can you imagine once expectations and sentiment go out the door? Because right now, so some of the
but you're still so we artificially kept rates low for 14 years.
Yes.
And now we're going to artificially keep things.
But we know this because we're in the industry.
Okay, but that's the problem, though, is that you're now using America's lack of financial literacy and weaponizing it against them by getting them to buy into your rhetoric instead of telling them straight up how it is and what they need to do.
Right.
And this is also the same stupid fucking reason that consumer discretionary spending hasn't come in line. Well, and we're looking at this like we're in the 1930s still.
Hold on. I get your frustration, and I'm frustrated with it all too. But in that same breath, we got to also say, he has said, I'm holding rates all year.
Okay, but let's go through that. The market doesn't believe that.
There you go.
If you look at the polls and the predictions of what he's they all think this has gotten so...
And I got those predictions right here. This is what's crazy about it.
Okay, good. Give it to me.
Per the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, in July, there's a 50% chance of a pivot.
Yep.
July. So in June, so the next FOMC meeting will be June 13th and 14th, right?
It's because the market knows the pressures that we're experiencing right now, this is not sustainable. Right. Well, I'll be honest with you. I think he was dead ass wrong.
You don't think it's sustainable though?
Points.
Okay.
No.
Okay, but hear me out. So July, there's a 50% chance of a pivot. Okay, that's 2 FOMC meetings from now. At the next FOMC meeting, there will be another SEP report, which will give you an idea of where they see projections again. Yeah. Okay. September, there's an 88% chance they pivot.
According to the Mercantile Exchange.
According to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Okay. But now this is what I wanted to get into tonight. So did some digging and a little bit of research.
That's never a good thing.
Always a very good thing. In 2000, when rates were at 6.5% and they paused, do you know how long they paused for? 7 months.
Okay.
In 2006 to 2007, when rates were high, you know how long they paused for and didn't cut?
7 months.
14 months.
Damn it.
In 2018, do you know how long they paused for?
No idea. 8
months.
Okay.
I mean, why does the market think that we got to this high rate and we're just gonna slash them?
No, that's not what the market thinks. Okay, I understand where you're going and why you feel that way. But here's what I'll say: I think the market thinks the Fed fucked up. I think the market thinks it's consensus now that they waited a year too long.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we can agree on that.
100%.
The market thinks he tried to increase rates way too fast in way too quick of a time to save face before an election in November 24.
Right.
Okay, so they think the pressure that is now, and here's what I'll say before I get there. They think the pressure that is now mounting is untenable. And I'll tell you, there's some things now that are different now than ever before in history that are being wildly underestimated. Number one, jobs right now, because of the ecosystem that we have where there's not an office job, I don't think they're being measured accurately, and I don't think the numbers that we have for jobs and employment are accurate like they used to be.
I agree, because one thing that you got to remember, the unemployment numbers or like the job openings and whatnot, people aren't considered unemployed unless they file for unemployment.
Exactly. And the way we calculate it has changed a couple of times in the last several years.
Yeah.
So now, not only are we calculating it differently, but it's not accounting for technology, and we're looking at this from the opus of when these rules were put in place, decades ago.
Right.
And then you layer in the fact that you now have retail traders, the Robinhood traders out there, which I'm not bastardizing or demonizing anybody, but you have to understand they have real fucking impact.
Right.
They are real problems for the business. And when you're with GameStop or Bed Bath & Beyond, companies that frankly are likely to fail anyway because they were on the brink, I don't have a problem with you tearing them down and having put calls to drag them down or up because of Reddit forums, whatever. But you start doing it to banks that are healthy, where their stock price is not indicative of their financial strength, and I will explain all this later. Okay, you are now taking jobs, people, institutions that circulate money to build businesses out of the economy for no more than your near-term tiny financial gain.
Absolutely, I agree. And the other issue, though, with why I think that they're not going to cut rates anytime soon is because those 3 time periods that we just referenced didn't have inflation as high as we have now.
That's a fair assessment. And I'm not saying that they are going to cut rates sooner than the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying the market doesn't believe a lot of what Powell's saying. So the idea that Powell should save face or should relay communications because he wants to be overly communicative, but he doesn't want the Fed to lose face.
Right.
You know what? I'll give you all, the listeners, the opportunity to opine. Arun, play the clip, and we'll see what you think in the first couple seconds when he starts speaking.
Right.
Before discussing today's meeting, let me comment briefly on recent developments in the banking sector. Conditions in that sector have broadly improved since early March, and the U.S. banking system is sound and resilient. We will continue to monitor conditions in the sector. We're committed to learning the right lessons from this episode, and will work to prevent events like these from happening again.
Hey, asshole, why don't you give us more detail why you think the banking system sound and resilient? Because on what I'm looking at, it doesn't look so sound and resilient.
It doesn't, and that's so you're talking about losing credibility. And I apologize, that video didn't come through, and I'm on my mobile. My mobile phone just sucks, man. I need to upgrade to the 14. It's at the point in time where
really,
it's like I lose service. I keep hanging up on people.
That's not your phone though.
And
man.
It's like even now when I send him the message, it came through all pixelated.
You got to get off Cricket Wireless.
Between you and Adam, bro.
He told you.
he just said the same thing. All right, so the 3 statements he just said. Number 1, conditions in that sector have broadly improved, speaking of banking, okay? Number 2, the U.S. banking system is sound and resilient. Number 3, we will work to prevent events like these from happening again. And within 2 hours of this statement, within 2 hours, Western Alliance and PacWest went down off a cliff. They lost like 50% of their value.
PacWest is currently down 76%.
Yeah.
And Western Alliance down 57% in total. It's crazy. PacWest is at the point where they're exploring strategic options.
No. So this was literally misunderstood by the entire fucking market.
Are you sure? Because what Western Alliance is saying, because they got quoted the same thing, and they're like, no, not us.
Yeah. So let me explain what happened here, because I'm sure a lot of people out there think the exact same thing. Number 1, PacWest actually said on their earnings call, which I listened to. I'm a banker. And their CFO is our former CFO. I know them well. That team is good. And I'll be frank here. First Republic was a well-run, well-regarded bank. So was Silicon Valley. And now I'm hearing some things about Silicon Valley. They didn't have contingency funding for liquidity and stuff like that. And if that's true, that's terrible. But First Republic certainly wasn't that way. I know the regulators. I know the people over there. I know everybody in that game.
Right.
They were a good bank. They got caught up with low rates because they didn't expect the Fed to take an unprecedented move. Fine.
Yeah, I don't blame them for that.
With I don't either. And honestly, the Fed's own interest rate risk stress testing required them to go to 4% as a maximum pivot in interest rates in a single year. And yet the Fed moved 5% and was like, oh, my God. You guys are surprised? And I'm not trying to knock the Fed. So, again, we talk a lot about Jerome Powell. And it was unanimous, the decision.
Right.
Of the 12 people in the room, 7 voting members unanimously voted. It's not just him.
If the Lakers go down, we're shitting on LeBron. He's the head. So we're going to shit on Jerome Powell.
If the Lakers go down, I'll probably hear from you, and I won't be shitting on LeBron at all.
Really?
No.
Yeah,
no.
You take that shot because you're a Jordan guy.
He is one of the greatest of all time. He is, but I am always going to be a Jordan guy.
I mean, you're not even being open-minded. You're like, I don't want to hear it.
It's not that I'm not being open-minded. I think Jordan put this very well. He said, look, man, you can't take players from different generations and truly compare them as apples to apples.
Especially different positions.
Different positions, different generations is very difficult.
Right.
So it's not a knock on LeBron. It's I grew up idolizing Jordan in my era. That was my generation. I'm not looking to replace him. And I don't really watch basketball anymore.
Right.
At all.
Zero.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I do this with you. You're my Jordan.
Yeah. You're my Scotty.
Yeah, you're my Scotty. So PacWest said on their earnings call 3 weeks ago, we are willing to explore, we are going to explore all strategic options, including the possibility of a sale, if that's an option.
Of a private rescue, yeah.
That was on their earnings call.
Right.
So for now, that same day that the Fed made this statement and their stock price cratered 2 hours later,
Right. Cratered.
after hours, a story comes out about how PacWest is exploring strategic options, and the short sellers jump all over it and start trying to drive their stock down.
Right.
Infuriated me. I mean, just absolutely pissed me off to no end.
So these are like short selling and the deposit outflows are the two ways right now where banks could fail.
No, short selling cannot cause a bank to fail. And I actually wrote a really great narrative about this because I was planning to go off and I wanted to stay within the rails of not cussing out everybody.
Really? Well,
So I wrote a little shtick.
Well, okay, because I think I know where you're going with that. You want to go there now, or
No, let me finish up what happened and we'll set it up and then we'll go there after. How about that?
okay, yeah,
You want to hold hands while we're doing it?
let's do it.
Okay. All right. So your hands are very soft.
Like, come on, man.
You lift weights?
Man, it's
They're
my
moist.
it's my
They're moist. They are moist.
it's my skincare routine.
You do not have a skincare routine.
Come
You
on.
take 6 hours a day, bro. You don't care about your skin. You don't care about your skin.
Yeah.
All right. So PacWest said this on an earnings call 3 weeks ago. So the fact that it came out in a news article, I thought this is a weird article. Well, it turns out Business Insider was the original first company to report on it. I don't know if you've been following Business Insider, but I would call them not an ideal journalistic outlet.
Source, right? Got it.
Yeah, they can be bought and sold.
Gotcha.
And there's a lot of criticism about Business Insider, and it's not just me. There's other people that are pretty pissed off at them for that. And I've talked to PR firms who've literally said we can get them to write anything we want.
Why are they catching more shade than Forbes?
They're not catching more. They're just catching a different type of shade.
Got you.
You know, Forbes at one point in time had credibility, and I'll tell you, I'll still read a couple Forbes articles from time to time. But every time they're like, oh, you know, Kevin Williamson is 24-year-old
Yeah.
Airbnb millionaire, and he'll
Yeah.
tell you how he did it. I'm like, fuck you, Forbes.
Yeah, man.
Fuck you.
Exactly.
Anyway, so PacWest had already said this, and this article comes out. Well, it turns out they actually said, I think it was today, that was not only not true, that they didn't have some internal conversation like that.
Really?
They had said it on a previous time.
See, I thought that was Western Alliance, not PacWest.
Western Alliance did the exact same thing with the Financial Times, who reported negatively about them. And they went so far as to say, hey, we're handling the really challenging banking climate right now, but when we're done, we're coming after you, Financial Times. And the reason why this is so important is because this parasitic cycle.
You know them probably much better than I do. Do they have similar exposure to venture capital as like First Republic and Silicon Valley Bank?
PacWest does have some exposure to venture capital.
They maybe that was the interesting part because there was a report that came out on PacWest today that their deposits totaled $28 billion, which was near their April levels. So they didn't experience a whole lot of outflow, as much outflow as people may have thought they did. I mean, if you, for the normal like investor, if they're looking at their stock price, they're probably going to naturally assume, oh, their stock price is going down. They're probably losing all kinds of outflows, but that's not the case.
So no. So let's address this real quickly then. Then let's get this out of the way. I won't even go through the whole shtick. Fuck the rails. Let's go off the rails a little bit. So stock prices are relevant for a lot of reasons as an indicative, generally speaking, of future cash flow, future earnings.
Yes.
But they can be manipulated. They can be changed. And I'm going to post probably my little shtick that I wrote on social media as an educational tool for most people. But you have to understand that bank capital is not derived from the value of their stock.
Right.
Banks get money from depositors.
Right.
Okay? So the up and down increase in their stock price is not indicative of their regulatory health, of their financial health. It's only indicative of the market's perceived value of them, which in a rational market would be because someone says this company is going to make more or less money next year, and here's what their tangible book is, and here's what they should be trading, and stuff like that. Like logical financial-based decisions. But in this market, behavioral economics have taken over, and the parasitic cycle I was referring to is the news media reports on this bank could be in trouble, i.e. PacWest.
Yes.
Then social media magnifies this message.
Right.
And then guess what? Short sellers start short selling the bank's stock, meaning that they're betting the value will go down, continuing to drive the value down. Then guess what? The traditional news media picks it up again, then social media, then more short sellers, and it becomes this just tidal wave of reoccurring parasitic activity,
right,
just feeding value straight down for no other reason than it's in the news cycle.
It's a very dangerous game.
It's a very dangerous game. Somebody proposed today that you should not be allowed to short sell banks, not because the short selling profits are a big problem, and they are a big problem, but because you're causing a run on banks.
Right, because as if I was somebody, like I actually was having this discussion with a few cousins of mine, and they were asking me about the sector, and they were about the banks, and they don't know any better, and they said to them, if they see that their bank stock price is tumbling down 70-some percent, even though the bank is still profitable, even though they haven't experienced any outflows and deposits, that would scare the shit out of them, and they would pull their money out the bank. So, yes, I get it. Just because the stock price is going down, it doesn't mean that the bank is failing, but it could cause enough people to want to leave because they just don't know any better and they're afraid.
But PacWest not only recovered several $1 billion, I think $1 billion and some change, but they had just come out with earnings a couple weeks earlier. So it's not like
but people
there
aren't
had been a run,
earnings, bro.
But they should. So here, I wrote this down, and I guess I'll read part of it. I have a modified version, which I'll post on social media, and I think it might be helpful. So a bank's stock price is not always indicative of its financial strength because stock prices are influenced by various factors beyond a bank's financial health, okay, such as market condition, investor sentiment, and overall economic trends.
Right.
Okay. For example, if the stock market is experiencing a general downturn, the stock price of even a financially healthy bank may decrease, right? Because the market's taking a general downturn, you could get pulled down with the sector.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Not a big
If
deal.
the whole sector's going down, not a big deal.
Additionally, investor sentiment can be influenced by news and rumors, which can also affect a bank's stock price. And that's this parasitic cycle that we're talking about. But it's not just news and rumors. It's news, rumors, and people trying to short sell the price down to make a profit on this price moving down. Think GameStop. Think Bed Bath & Beyond. Moreover, a bank stock price is often forward-looking, which means that it reflects expectations of future earnings and growth potential, which, again, is a fair criticism in the market right now because we know, based on what we've seen and what we've experienced, what we've talked about on the show over and over again, right? Deposits in a bank's portfolio will reprice up almost overnight. People will call you up and be like, hey, the Fed increased rates. Let's increase rates.
Yep.
People will say, hey, I'm getting 1% or less than 1% on my CD. I'm going to take the free break and I'm going to go put it in a CD for 5%.
Yeah.
And that's happening, and it's just moving the needles. And as this happens in an unprecedented cadence in a year, banks' deposit cost increases massively. Well, banks make money primarily on the net interest margin, the difference between what they're getting in what they're getting in loan rates and what they're paying on deposit rates.
Yep.
Except when these banks have made billions of dollars of loans over the last 14 years, their weighted average rate of the loans in their portfolio is low because rates had been low for the last 14 years.
Right.
But when you move rates up 5% in a single year,
For 10 consecutive meetings.
you can't make enough loans in a single year to move your weighted average of this now multi-billion-dollar portfolio you grew over the last 14 years.
Right.
You can't move that number up high enough, so banks now are making significantly less money. So this is a valid criticism of banks.
Yes.
Okay, which I understand. But that just means their stock price should be lower. And if they're meeting earnings, First Republic, they beat their earnings expectation.
Yeah.
But they still traded to damn near zero.
Yeah.
Right? So that in and of itself is not the reason why these banks are failing. So it goes on. Even if a bank is currently financially strong, if investors perceive that its future earnings may be impacted by factors such as competition or regulatory changes or unprecedented moves by the Fed, it can lead to a decrease in the stock price. Everything up to this point is fair.
Fine.
So, on the other hand, a bank may also engage in activities that artificially inflate its stock price, such as stock buybacks or other financial engineering strategies. So, stock buybacks. If you're a bank right now and you had a ton of extra profitability or a ton of extra capital in your books, you might want to say, hey, I'm going to buy back some extra stock, and it'll artificially inflate the price a little bit because there's less stock out there, and the price kind of pivots upward. Except you want to retain all of the cash you can on your balance sheet, which is not an efficient use of your capital.
Right, but for the time being,
cash
is king.
Cash is king, because if people come knocking at your door and saying, hey, Chris, give me my deposits back, I don't think you're going to make it, you want to be able to give that money out.
You're going to need to.
And the reason why that's so important is because otherwise you're going to have to sell things like securities
Right.
Well, we know with Silicon Valley Bank, their securities portfolio had billions of dollars in losses.
And realize some of those unrealized losses.
Exactly, because they had to sell securities they bought at a time when rates were way lower into a market where the same securities were priced much higher.
Right. Not a big deal if you don't have to realize them and you just hold them to maturity.
Like all the loans
Right.
on their books, right?
Exactly.
So you can see how this can be very problematic. But then again, you know what? Hey, it's all good. These banks can't deploy these strategies to increase their stock price because they're trying to hoard cash because they don't know what's going to happen. Because it's like Russian roulette, man. If your name pops up in the news,
Yeah.
you're in this parasitic cycle and you're going to get a bank run possibly.
It's true.
You don't know.
It's true.
So I end the whole thing with, therefore, while a bank stock price can be a useful indicator of its financial strength, it should not be the sole metric used to evaluate a bank's financial health. Other important factors to consider include the bank's balance sheet, income statement, and regulatory filings.
Yeah.
So let's just start with that. Balance sheet, income statement, regulatory filings. We talk all the time on this show, publicly traded companies, you should be looking at this information.
Yes.
Because it's really, really important for you to discern whether if you're going to put money into it, whether they're actually strong or not.
Right.
All this other stuff you're seeing in the news, how many times have you seen any news article as of late talking about banks reference their balance sheet?
None.
Reference their income statement, reference their regulatory filings. You don't. You hear, oh, that bank's going to look at strategic options. You know what? Every board of directors and every set of executive management, every single bank has a fiduciary responsibility to look at strategic options.
Yes.
And for that to drive their stock price down as a symbol of weakness shows a fundamental lack of understanding of their responsibility as fiduciaries to the shareholder anyway. All banks across the country are always doing that, even Jamie Dimon.
Yeah, exactly. At all times.
But yet we're so focused on these things that we're driving prices down. And it's mind-blowing. And that's the other point, too. Why is it only publicly traded banks that are getting hit? Regional non-publicly traded banks, you don't have to be publicly traded to be a bank.
Right.
They're not getting crushed the same way.
Right.
You want to know why? Short sellers can't trade them down.
Exactly. It's true. And I feel so a listener, actually, one of our longtime listeners sent me an article that I think really plays into this as well. Not only is this parasitic cycle so damaging to, the banking sector, but also the fact that we've now reached a point where digital banking is so important that depositors have such quick access to their funds that if they wanted to, they could just move their money out right away.
And they do.
Whereas
they do.
There was a long period of time where they would consider the relationships quote unquote sticky, where it would take you a while to have to transfer
You
your
physically
funds.
have to go to a branch, open an account, go to your branch, transfer the money,
Right.
and then you wait.
But in this new time that we're in, if there's a fear, hey man, I'm gonna log on right now and send all my money out.
With banks that leverage Plaid, it's instant account verification, instant account funding.
Right.
You log into your new bank account that you just created online within minutes, use Plaid, links to your old bank account, automatically pulls it over. Next morning, money comes out of your old account into your new account. Guess what? You're with the new bank.
Right. I can't remember which article it was, but it's in the show notes. Check it out. And while you're there, you should probably leave us an honest 5-star review.
A really, really, really honest 5-star review.
I mean, you can tell Chris is really worked up tonight.
I'm a little worked up because this shit's so unbelievably infuriating. And here's the part that bothers me is there are thousands and thousands of people at some of these banks all afraid that they're going to lose their job.
Yeah, man.
Getting calls from family.
Hey, this guy right here.
Yeah, I mean, getting calls from family, getting calls from friends. What's going on? I've heard X. I've heard Y. I've had to put out talking points, not for just client-facing employees, but for employees internally because I know their family's asking them questions.
100%.
And I've now had to educate people on things. And it's so hard to say this, but it's true. So many fucking people you see on the news and in social media who act confident and who have good reputations and who seemingly know what they're talking about have absolutely jack shit idea of how banking works.
Zero.
None. And you sit there and you get super frustrated that you were supposed to be a subject matter expert and clearly you are lacking that expertise. And yet you want to sit in front of a screen with a tie on and talk about how I'd be very worried if I were X, if I were Y. Now, I will say today's rhetoric was visibly different.
Thank God.
The traditional media has pivoted, and they've started to focus on I can't remember her name. She's a former Fed head. I heard her. She was magnificent on CNBC today saying, look, This is a clear lack of understanding of how banks work and short selling working in tandem to drive values down, and it scares customers. And she said, frankly, it should be illegal. I don't think you should be able to short sell bank stocks and then create a run. And then she even went so far as to say it's SEC stock price manipulation.
You wouldn't believe this. I actually had one of my neighbors come up to me the other day, and he knows that I'm in banking, and over the last year or so, he's always asking me for tips. And he asked me, I want to ask you on some advice on which banks I should short sell. And I looked down and was like, I can't believe you had the balls to ask me that question. I was so shocked. I was like, what do you expect from me?
I have some numbers. I have some numbers on that later on. I'll tell you how much money's been traded. It's actually, considering the national number of people and just the traders that are out there, I thought the number was actually somewhat underwhelming, but
right.
We'll get to that later. So the next article that I want to pull up is from Bloomberg Business Week. And this one pissed me off to no end.
Mm-hmm.
I even went on social media and commented on it. So from Bloomberg Business Week, the article says, for banks under stress, there's a federal backstop that provides help without stigma.
Right.
A legacy of the Depression created to support home ownership is now a linchpin of the broader funding market. And it shows the FHLB, Federal Home Loan Banks,
right.
a fire, and the Fed being the fire truck who's going to come save the day. I was fucking heated when I saw this.
Yeah.
I had to be somewhere, and I was like, nope, I'm going on social media. And this is exactly the problem with what's going on right now. This is exactly the rhetoric that's causing so many problems for everybody else. And so, number one, FHLB is one type of line of credit that banks can get. They pledge their underlying collateral, which is notes. So if I make a multifamily apartment loan,
yes,
and I've got a $5 million loan to that apartment loan, right, I could pledge it to the Federal Home Loan Bank, and they will give me a percentage of that loan back in capital to access in the form of a line of credit. Let's just say you get 50% of that, you get $2.5 million back, and then you pledge your interest in that note to the FHLB.
Right.
That has been around, again, since the Depression, and it's a great tool for a line of credit.
Right.
But it's not something that's stigma is irrelevant to this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Banks typically always pledge assets to have a greater line of credit to use at any point in time. Now, my understanding is that this was what Silicon Valley Bank didn't have. They didn't have this in place. All banks should have a contingency funding plan.
Absolutely.
In a worst-case event that you have a bank run, where can we tap to get extra liquidity? This is usually the number one part of that contingency funding plan.
Just another insurance plan.
Yeah, you can tap a line of credit. Now, the Fed term window came out, and they did something special during this last couple of months, saying, okay, the Fed said, okay, I know you pledged to FHLB, but guess what? If you pledge to us, we'll give you par value.
I saw that.
So we're not going to give you a discount based on what those loans would be worth today. We're going to give you what your original value was, regardless of what the rates would be in the current market.
Very generous.
Very generous, but you have to understand, too, banks have to now depledge the FHLB and then repledge to the Fed window, and there's a bit of a stigma to using the Fed window. You have to disclose it. So this article in and of itself shows a widely misunderstood lack of how money management works in the banking system, yet they're presenting it like, oh, banks could have done this, and here's the Fed as a fire truck, could have put out the fires, but there's this big bucket of water that was there, and it's like, no, dude.
Let's not get confused why we're here.
Yeah, we're here because the Fed took an unprecedented set of circumstances, and frankly, I'm going to call it out right now. Mm-hmm. And I love the Fed. There's tons of people over there. I have tons of respect for them, and this is not just Jerome Powell. There's clearly 6 other voting members of the FOMC,
right?
Fair Open Market Committee, not so fair now, right? Well, this didn't have to be done in a single year. We had normal recessionary economies last 7 to 10 years from trough to trough, peak to peak, right? Why we thought we could undo 14 years, almost 15 years of artificial interest rate deflation in a single year, is beyond me. We should have known it was going to take a prolonged period of time, and it was going to be more painful for longer.
So what would you say?
But we should have accepted that.
But what would you say if the concern was data shows that if we would have taken a slower approach, this would have dragged out for even longer?
If there is data to that point, why hasn't it been presented? And as somebody who looks at data constantly in this sector, I've seen nothing.
Well, we haven't had inflation this high in over 40 years.
Okay, if they were that scared of, I think what you're referring to is hyperinflation.
No, not hyperinflation. Just when Inflation hasn't been this high right now.
Yeah.
In over 40 years.
That's true, but it has been this high before.
And what did they do though in the 80s?
They did not raise rates this fast.
They didn't raise it this fast, but how high did they get, and how slow was the burn?
Yeah, they got higher.
And they got a double dip recession.
But look, that still would have preserved more jobs than what we're doing right now. And a double dip recession is not, frankly, I think we're already in a double dip recession. I think the first part was January 1, 2022.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think we're going through a second one right now.
Just because it wasn't declared doesn't mean we weren't in one.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they won't declare one.
Right.
So I think we already have that.
Right.
So, I mean, look, and again, that's the part of the National Bureau of Economic Research. And I'll be clear. Let's do this. National Bureau of Economic Research has had over a year, almost 18 months now,
Yeah.
to declare the first part of that recession. They've said nothing.
Right.
They haven't said it wasn't a recession. They haven't said that it was a recession.
Right.
Silence is a very interesting thing to communicate.
Right.
They're looking at all this shit going like, damn, we're going to need more time.
I want to maybe in the next episode do a deep dive onto how long did it take for them to declare the last recession.
18 months.
So we're there.
Yep.
Where y'all at? Declare it not a recession. Declare something.
I don't
Declare
think
your
you're gonna
love
get
for
that.
the higher standard. Something.
They should. You know, call us the true Nouriel Roubini.
Oh.
The bad boys of the economy.
The Boom Boom Room podcast.
We could fit Boom Boom Room above this, right?
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Because you got the boom, I got the boom.
Don't point at your crotch when you say that to me. Don't do that.
Do I have the boom?
Yeah, it was a boom 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 room. Yeah, but yours is physical. There's a difference.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know, man. Like, where this goes from here. Look, at his press conference, he left the door open for a pause at the next meeting in June.
You watched the conference?
I did.
So the second person that asked him a question, I think she was from the Financial Times. I don't know where she was from. Very good question. She said, Secretary Powell, do you have concerns? Why'd you laugh?
I'm just thinking about him, like, and what he's thinking in that moment. Like, do I have concerns? Yes, bitch. I have a lot of concerns.
See, but I would. He's so unemotional. So
He has to be. What do you want him to be
but you know
emotional?
what he said in the conference that pissed me off to no end? He was like, so I'll give you the question and the answer, and then I'll explain. So she asked, hey, you just sold one of the larger banks in the country to the largest bank in the country. Like, doesn't that concern you?
Yeah.
That you're effectively creating monopolies? And he basically said the FDIC handles that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, you put them in the position to handle that.
True.
And then he said they have to go by the law, which is the sale, which creates the less financial obligation to the taxpayers.
Yeah. I mean, there's very few
Which
banks.
is the highest bid.
There's very few banks that are positioned well enough to do that.
But he basically said if you don't like the way that process works, you could change the law. And I'm like, bro.
Come on.
Like, how fucking disassociated are you with the impacts to this?
It's so fucked.
It's so fucked. And I'm sitting here, and I know it can be easy for anybody listening to this to go, you know what? Chris is a banker. They started a regional community bank.
Mm-hmm.
He's just being whiny because it affects him now. No,
No. You got what you don't understand is the rippling effects that this is going to have. So, like we said, paying for the banks is in a rising interest rate market.
Mm-hmm.
If this shit pauses in June, I hope everyone else gets ready. Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up, because let me tell you right now, it's not going to be a fun experience for you when you get in your proctology exams.
No.
When you're on the other side of this going, damn, Chris was right.
And when they hold that proctology exam, when they hold it.
Saied can't do very many things very well, but one thing he can do well is he can hold for a very long time.
What is that supposed to mean?
You said when they hold
Like
it.
hold up on the pull-up bar, I can hold for a long time?
You can take that to mean whatever you would like it to mean.
Who do you think would win in a contest holding their body weight on the pull-up bar?
Pull-up bars?
Me or you?
Okay, I'm gonna admit this to you. I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna be forthcoming with information
Uh-huh.
because I know what I'm gonna say afterwards is gonna hurt your feelings. Okay.
Fuck.
I used to be able to like rep pull-ups so much that I had like a weighted, a chain belt thing that I put like weights on.
Oh, so fancy.
And I'd keep doing. Yeah, I felt. I wish I could get back to that. I tried to do a pull-up today.
Yeah.
Damn near pulled a muscle in my ass. I don't even know how you do that.
Yeah, how's that possible?
like everything was so tightened and stressed that it just was like ass.
Yeah.
It just right down. Like, you know what I mean? I am not in shape to do a pull-up. Although I can deadlift and squat, and I can do a lot of the things that I used to be able to do. I cannot do a pull. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the function, or maybe just is too heavy.
Yeah.
So I do have a bone to pick with you.
So I was gonna be very forthcoming with you too.
No, I'm not giving you that opportunity. No.
You
hold
on.
Not get this.
He doesn't even know yet.
He doesn't know?
No.
Okay, Arun,
Because-
buckle up, brother. You're gonna meet my little friend called Hypocrisy tonight. Okay. This guy's a piece of shit, and I'm gonna tell you
that's
why.
not true.
We all know that.
No. You
Hold
don't
on.
know the level of piece
Wait,
of shitness that's coming.
Hold on. Before you do so, was I forthcoming to you with that information?
You were, and then you looked at me with like these puppy dog eyes, like hoping that I wasn't gonna tear you a new asshole. I'm telling you right now, you hoped wrong.
I deserve it.
I am much pettier than you.
I want
gave
you.
me a
I
chance
want
to
you to
be.
know when I did it, I knew what I was doing.
Okay, so for a little bit of a refresher, for those of you who do not listen to every single show, A, shame on you, and B, the last show, I showed all of you a picture that I thought of a haircut would look pretty interesting. And I'm trying to support Saied, who has now come to a position in his life where he said, I'm not going to get haircuts anymore. So I said, okay, fine, I'm going to support you, and I'm not going to pay for haircuts either. Meanwhile, he has since buzzed his head. I thought, I'm just going to grow my hair out long. And I sent a picture of an actor. I don't know who he is.
Is the guy? It's like the dad from the show This Is Us or something like that. That's what one of our coworkers today was telling me.
No, that's not that.
Yeah,
that's
he's
not.
in the show.
Yeah, it's that guy.
I don't even know. So he has longer hair. And I thought, okay, well, I'll grow my hair out, try to be like that. And Saied instantly shot it down, basically saying that I had too fat of a face to pull that look off.
That wasn't the only reason.
You said okay, what was the other? There was other reasons. Please share, enlighten us with the other reasons.
I just don't feel as though it would work for you. That's it. It
Okay.
just doesn't go with.
You also said that he was a much better looking man than me.
I mean, yeah, man. Are you going to deny that?
Yes, I am.
Come on.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Well, the
And-
good news is karma is here, and I'm going to let you embarrass yourself.
Yeah. So
When you went to get your haircut today, who did you pull up as a reference point for the haircut that you wanted? You thought you could pull off.
dude, I sent you the picture that I showed my barber. You could go ahead and put it up on the screen if you got it. Did you get it?
Really, bro?
Yeah,
So-
really, bro.
So I go, hey, barber, I want to change my look for the summer. I want to go to a more of a buzz look, but I want to go for like that natural buzz look. I don't want it to be any hard line fades or anything.
So here's a picture of Paul fucking Walker. Paul Walker, you piece of shit.
So
And then he had the balls when I said, bro, you're going to give me shit because my face isn't chiseled, but then you're going to say you want to look like this guy who's arguably one of the best looking fucking dudes ever lived?
Yeah.
And he's like, his face isn't that chiseled, bro.
yeah.
Does this man not look with it? You think, stop. No, don't do the duck face thing again.
Hey man, listen.
That's
so
duck face for 2 episodes in a row.
I wanted a more natural buzz cut look, and look, I got it today, and I'm even rocking a hat. Oh, I'm sick shit.
Oh, you know what? You're right. You look just like Paul Walker.
Thanks, man.
Wow, I can't even tell the difference.
I mean, honestly, the Afghan Paul Walker. That's what I go.
I'll give you this. You have the density to pull
I
off
am
the
the
hair.
Paul. I am the Paul Walker of podcasting. That's what I'm doing.
You're more like the Paul Wall of podcasting.
Well done. Well done.
Bro.
Well done.
That's trying to get my Dirty South references in while I can.
Yeah.
Sipping sideways. All
So
right.
anyways, I showed the barber, and the barber said, "You know, you don't look like that, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next article is from Reuters, titled "Exclusive: U.S. Officials Assessing Possible Quote Manipulation End Quote on Banking Shares." According to a source. The same source said Saied looks like a jackass.
Yeah.
Your haircut's terrible.
Right. More ways than one. I do look like that.
Chiseled face. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm getting there. Come on.
Don't do the between your duck face and the titty popping in the studio, like this is becoming a very awkward relationship for me. All right, this from the article. Shares of regional banks resumed their slide this week after the collapse of First Republic Bank, the third U.S. mid-sized lender to fail in 2 months.
Mm.
Now, as a bit of a reminder, the third mid-sized lender to fail in the last 2 months, since March till now.
First Republic, right?
First Republic.
They were the 14th largest bank in the U.S.
But the Fed secretary said conditions in that sector have broadly improved. The U.S. banking system is sound and resilient, and we will work to prevent events like this
I
from happening
think I heard him
again.
say in the meeting, like, after First Republic went down, we can now put a line under banks failing. We don't have to worry about that anymore.
Oh, yeah, he said all that.
Yeah, why? Like, in what world, dude?
So after this happened, short sellers raked in $378.9 million in paper profits on Thursday alone from betting against certain regional banks, according to the analytics firm Ortex. So, again, that doesn't sound huge to me given the amount of trading that you saw, and the trading volumes in these stocks are massive. But in just Thursday.
So explain to people how how do they even make money on short selling?
Basically, you're selling and buying a contract at the same time. You're effectively, it's betting is what you're doing. And I'm not going to get into the whole technicality of how it works because I don't want to teach people how to do this.
I know.
But the people are basically doing is they're betting on the price going down.
Yeah.
So they're buying and selling the future option to sell that contract at a price. And when they do that,
and when it goes down, they rebuy it again.
Exactly. So they wind up making money on the way down. And you can buy stock hoping that it goes up, or you can buy stock hoping that it goes down. It's as simple as that.
It's wild, man.
So short selling, and to answer your question, in which investors sell borrowed securities and aim to buy these back at a lower price to pocket the difference, is not illegal and considered part of a healthy market. But manipulating stock prices, which the SEC has defined as the intentional or willful conduct designed to deceive or defraud investors by controlling or artificially affecting stock price, is. So again, nothing wrong with short selling, but when you're on Reddit forums and you're on Twitter and you guys are getting in groups strategically trying to drive the price down to improve your short sell, now you're a piece of shit criminal.
Right, exactly.
Did I mince words there? Or are we clear on the wording?
Piece of shit criminal.
Piece of shit criminal.
Yeah.
POSC. Yeah.
No, S.
POS, piece of shit criminal.
SBF. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah.
Freed. Well, he's going to be fried soon anyway.
And he's not going to be freed.
Yeah. The increased short selling activity has triggered some calls for a temporary ban, but an SEC official told Reuters on Wednesday the agency was not currently contemplating such a move. But I would take them with a grain of salt because even though they're not currently contemplating such a move, Reuters was the same national outlet that reported on PacWest, which we now know was really a reverberation of a Business Insider article and not true.
Right.
So I don't know if you can really believe people, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so I guess to bring that back into the next FOMC meeting, so when this tomorrow, actually, today's Thursday, May 4th.
May the 4th be with you, brother.
I hate that so much.
What?
It's because he's not a Star Wars fan.
We get those emails at work. May the 4th be with you. What are we doing, guys?
Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're still of the generation where Star Wars should have been an impactful movie in your lifetime.
I had a friend.
No, you don't have any friends.
I don't. I had a friend.
Past tense. Okay, understood.
Had a friend that introduced me to Star Wars. He made me sit down and watch all 6 in the right order. So 3 or 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Right?
Well, the right order is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But again, okay.
Yeah. But that's the way. That's not the right order.
Everyone's giggling like a schoolgirl back there.
but that's not the way they came out.
Yeah, but that's not the right order. You said the right order.
Oh, the right.
Why did you say the order they came out in?
The order that they came out in. I guess I thought if you're a purist,
maybe that's why you don't like this movie.
If you're a purist, maybe you'd want to watch it the way it came out.
Bro, my 4-year-old son likes Star Wars.
Yeah, bro. Obviously, it's got like.
And he can count 1 to 6.
Anyways, he made me watch it all in one weekend. And I was like, man, this is a lot for me to buy into. This is a lot of stuff that can't happen.
What do you mean can't happen?
That shit's not real, bro.
You've never taken like a really big number 2 and felt like the Force? No?
No.
You never made Yoda sounds?
No. I love Yoda though. I'll say I do love Yoda. I get.
Of course you do.
I get
the
the love
only
for
guy
Yoda.
on the show who wants an AARP card as bad as you.
I do love Yoda. I don't get the draw for Anakin. I don't get it.
Yeah, he was a badass, man.
Kind
He
of weak.
became Darth.
Nah, man, I'm more of an Obi guy.
Obi-Wan?
Yeah, that's my guy.
It's because you like Latinos?
I love all Latinos.
Obi-Wan.
Don't do that. You can't do that.
So there is a Wes Anderson like fake trailer of Star Wars coming out.
Oh, okay.
Coming out. It's been making the rounds on social media, which has been hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And Owen Wilson is Darth Vader, and they say, and Owen Wilson is Darth Vader, and he goes, well.
Well,
if you get a chance, like find that. Maybe we'll end the show on it or something like that. But it's pretty dope if I can find it.
So before I was so rudely interrupted with Star Wars,
I didn't realize you were rudely interrupted saying that you didn't like a national pastime.
May the fourth be with you. Tomorrow.
So you don't like Cinco de Mayo then too? You racist
I
fuck?
love Cinco de Mayo. It's my wife's birthday.
Okay, that's not you because you love the holiday. You
No.
just like the 5th of May.
Makes it very easy not to forget.
Oh God. Do you eat tacos or not, bro?
On Cinco de Mayo?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, that makes you a racist.
Why?
You have to eat tacos on Cinco de Mayo?
We eat tacos every Tuesday.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we do.
No, you don't.
Healthy
That's a lie.
tacos. That's true.
So you,
More times than not, I'll say. Not every Tuesday.
Wait, you at home?
Yeah, we make tacos.
Every Tuesday?
She makes them
including these alleged meal prep days?
Yeah, she makes them with
Whoa, don't Passover.
I forget what kind of wraps they are. They're not actual. They're not tortillas, so it's a healthy option. Odin, do you remember what they're called?
Why would he be eating healthy option tortillas?
I have no idea. Those fiber protein ones?
Yeah, what a no. It was the I can't remember what kind it was. It was almost like a radish paper kind.
Arun, please, man, as my friend, please just work out. Put your watch back on.
Yeah, why have you stopped wearing your watch?
Please don't do this to me. I don't want to be this guy for you.
You look at your watch every day.
You do.
I really don't.
And it says, you know what time it is? It's time to work out.
Yeah. If you wore your watch, you would you'd be on you'd answer more. I always text and call this guy. He never answers on the first call.
So this is my problem with watches now. Like, as much as I would like the idea of wearing like a big gold Rolex, no disrespect to anybody who likes that, I like having like alerts on my wrist.
I know. My wife and I have this discussion. She's like, I don't want to be that connected. I want to be disconnected.
No, I don't. I want to be connected.
I want to be as connected as possible. I want to be interwoven.
That's my allure.
Yeah.
As I'm responsive.
I love my Apple Watch.
Really?
Love it.
So you do respond pretty regularly whenever I message.
Yes.
My little brother's got an Apple Watch. That motherfucker never responds.
You know what that means?
Leaves my ass on red.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I get the hoe treatment.
Yeah.
I'll call you back when I want to.
Right. I hate
Or they
that.
play the hoe games. I love the hoe games.
What are the hoe games?
Where you take a long time to call somebody back because you're legitimately busy and got, I don't know, like a bank to run or something like that. Right? And then you call them back and then like, they don't answer and they'll call you back the same time that it took you to call them back.
Oh, like you see the time. Oh,
hoe
man.
games.
I hate people play these. I don't.
I
don't even have the time to analyze these.
Those
games.
are like dating 101 games. Oh shit! Billy called you 2 days after the first date.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't return his call for 2 days.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
See, thankfully, I never had to mess around with all that.
I mean, I didn't have to either. I mean, I was so goddamn sexy and my face was so chiseled back then that not only could I pull off the longer hair look, but
you retraded Joe now or what?
Nah.
You kind of retraded Joe now. You chiseled back then, not anymore.
No, actually,
See, I've always been this fat, so like I've stayed the same. The bar hasn't changed very much for me.
Bro, I married my wife. Let me tell you, there's some changes for both of us. It's not one way. Okay, so when I first met my wife, she had long hair. She cut it short.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was like, that's weird.
Really, you don't like short hair?
Huh?
You don't like short? I actually like my wife's short hair, and she wants to grow it back long again.
No, there's a lot of change. Like my wife aesthetically still looks like she's 12 years old. She looks in like an amazing shape.
Your wife looks like she's 12 years old.
I was saying.
Wow, hold on. Let's unpack this.
I recant the statement.
Your wife.
My wife looks young. Okay. Don't get us canceled for this shit. Okay, I made it. It was a faux pas, bro.
I'm allowing you to clarify.
I'm clarifying. My wife looks very young. Okay, she's Asian. That's what happened.
Of legal age.
Yeah, and then she keeps telling me they're gonna get to that age where she just looks super old. So I'm just trying to figure out when it is so I can plan for it mentally.
Yeah.
But then I thought to myself, like, before testosterone, I mean, it's so bad now where I'll look at old photos of me before testosterone, and I was getting fat anyway because I stopped working out, but the testosterone certainly didn't help. I got like buffy fat, which is like puffy fat.
You know, what's his name? Brendan Schaub was complaining that TRT made his head bigger. At least that's what he said. How he said he felt, and I think Rogan also agreed with him. Like, yeah, that's a thing.
I don't know that it made my head bigger, but I'll tell you, it made my hair transplant made my head bigger. Like my hats that I had, like fitted sizes, didn't fit anymore. I had to go buy new hats.
No, I think that's just the extra density in your hair.
Bro, I was thinning. I didn't have like no hair.
Oh, okay.
Don't paint this fucked up picture, bro.
Well, hold on, wait. What?
I'm trying to. You son of a bitch.
Okay.
I gotta
Let's
stop
get back
talking
on track.
to you,
Let's
man.
get back.
You say very hurtful shit on the show. I go home and like I complain to my wife. Like Saied said a lot of more mean shit to me tonight.
Wow.
Like, honey, my jawline's chiseled, right?
Yeah.
Between her telling me I fart in my sleep and this shit, I have low self-esteem, bro.
You fart in your sleep?
Oh yeah. Human, we all fart in our sleep. Arun definitely farts in his sleep
Why you gotta bring this poor guy into it?
because he's honest. You're not.
You're such a mean guy.
That's why you probably shower nice so you can get all that farting out before you go to bed.
I can hear all dude laughing in the background.
All those moist shower farts.
That's not true. Ew, bro.
No, man, that's all you, dude.
All me. You don't. Come on, Arun. Blow.
Blow.
Bruh.
You don't even know
So
where
you
you're
got
gonna take it.
gout, you got arthritis, and you don't fart?
No, of course I fart. But
Okay.
yours is the moist ones.
Yeah,
Oh.
because I had laser ass hair removal.
We're not doing this. We
Why are you trying to stigmatize something that's a very natural?
There's
I
no
wish
filter coming out.
it's not about having a filter. It's about being honest. Like, let's be transparent with the things that you do. Why do men get like a bad stigma because you want to personally groom yourself?
No, there's no bad stigma for that.
Okay, so I had laser hair removal on my ass. Look at my face when I say it to you. It's not funny. It's not funny, bro.
It's not. Come on, man.
It's not funny. I don't have hair on my arms. Look at my legs. No hair.
You are extremely hairless.
I'm hairless, bro.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, if a woman were to come in and she would be hairless, you wouldn't say a word. But I do it, and you judge the shit out of me.
How do I have more hair on my knuckles than you do on your entire body?
Let me tell you right now, there was a period of my life where I was shaving my knuckles. I felt like a caveman. So I had to get rid of all
You're
that.
making me want to sit on my hands.
Well, I also had 3rd-degree burns on my right hand. So my this one finger, my
pumpkin.
index finger, didn't grow hair.
Oh,
So it looked very off.
me too.
Yeah,
So you're just trying to match that one finger with the rest
Yeah.
with
of
my
your
whole
body.
body. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense
I
now.
also
It's
had,
all.
I also had 3rd-degree burns in my right leg from my knee to kind
Damn.
of my groin region. So
Jeez, bro.
yeah.
Oh.
Now you feel like a piece of shit.
I
don't
do.
you?
I'm an asshole.
You are. I've been trying to tell you you're a villain for the last several shows. I'm glad you at least come to
So tomorrow will be May 5th.
Cinco de Mayo, aka your amazing wife's birthday.
The
Happy
best.
birthday, Hawa.
The best wife's birthday. Yes.
And Arun's sister.
Yes, Odin's sister. I don't know if the listeners know that. Tomorrow, jobs report comes out. That'll be big
Yeah, that'll be big.
because private payrolls came out. Not so good.
Yeah,
Came down a little bit, but it's still not so good.
I never actually looked at this article. So what are the numbers? Hit me with it.
You did? Okay, so we still have. Remember, there was a point in time not too long ago where there was 1.9 job openings for every unemployed person.
I know 2 jobs for everyone.
We're now down to 1.6.
Okay.
Okay, so at least it's coming down. But private payroll rose 296,000 jobs in April. The estimates were 133,000.
Mm.
More than double. You want to know some of those fields that had some?
If you say construction, I'm
gains?
gonna slap somebody.
Yeah, so construction
Son of a
gained
bitch.
53,000 jobs.
How? I don't understand what's going on.
That makes zero sense.
No sense.
Leisure and hospitality, 154,000. Dude, some of these sectors are gonna get hit way late, dude.
And it's so obvious.
Yeah, it's coming.
People are like, "Oh man, Chris, you just care about the banking sector." No, bro, like, this is gonna come to your backyard.
Right. Leisure and hospitality up 154,000. Education and health services 69,000. Construction, as we mentioned, 53,000. The financial sector lost 28,000.
That number seems really low compared to all the media coverage that it's getting.
Yeah. Manufacturing lost 38,000.
Hold on a second. Wait.
And this
You
is
mean to fucking tell me that with all the media coverage that banks are getting,
Mhm.
that somehow manufacturing lost 10,000 more jobs than the financial sector did?
Well, you
And the
gotta
financial sector includes banks and non-bank lenders like Lending Tree and everybody else has been laying off.
right. But
Wow.
we gotta remember that I think this report here
Wow.
is for. Can you scroll down the article? It's for April, right?
Yeah, but most of the financial institutions were in March and April.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. So, I don't know. Should be interesting to see what happens. But what we know is for the next meeting, there will be. Let's see. Also on May 10th, CPI comes out. So next week, that's gonna be a big report for the next meeting. But what we do know is before the next June meeting, they'll have also May's jobs report. And they'll also have May's CPI report as well.
You know the date of the next June? It's the end of the month, right?
June 13th and 14th.
Okay.
June 13th and 14th, and after that, July 25th and July 26th.
Oh, that's the one that's the end of the month. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? At this point, if the Fed continues this process of increasing, it's going to be a fucking bloodbath.
I don't see it happen. I mean, unless these reports that come out, we see increases. Right now, there's a 92% chance at them holding.
Based on
Chicago Mercantile Exchange.
I wonder. I haven't checked Bloomberg's world interest rate probability. I've been so like inundated with just like banking stuff that I haven't had the chance to do things like look at the Bloomberg terminal.
So they have 92% chance of holding, an 8% chance of them increasing, a 0% chance of them cutting.
Yeah, I don't see them cutting anytime soon either. Yeah.
Especially based on those numbers we talked about how long they hold for in the past.
You remember a couple weeks ago we talked about how Apple opened up an account?
Yeah.
They opened up like they were number 11. They came out with a rate of like 4.15%.
Yeah, with Goldman Sachs. They paired with Goldman Sachs, right? Yeah.
And you would think during this whole time that was an interesting time to roll out like hey, we have a deposit program.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I feel like weird about it. It makes me a little upset.
Why?
It's capitalism at its finest.
So, in the first 4 days, how much in deposits do you think Apple got offering this real quick like link for anybody who had Apple Card? You just click the link and you can move money right in.
I read the article, so you want me to take an educated guess?
Yeah, take an educated guess.
$100 million.
No, it was $1 billion in high yield savings account in just 4 days.
Yeah.
Don't act like you knew when you guessed.
I
low.
did, man. It was anticlimactic.
All right. Apple
right.
gained nearly $1 billion in deposits into its new high yield savings account, again 4.15% in just 4 days, according to a Forbes report. So it's Forbes, so you can't trust it. The iPhone maker launched a high yield savings account last month, offering the Apple Card customers specifically that 4.15% yield.
Yep.
So you had to have an Apple Card, then you click the little link, and then you're open in literally less than 5 minutes.
Right.
On the first day of launch, Apple gained nearly $400 million in deposits.
400 million. So that's 240,000 high yield savings accounts. That represents only 0.2% of Apple's U.S. iPhone users.
So
less than 1%.
You clearly came prepared. Kudos to you.
Yeah, I read the article.
I did not. I just read the headline.
Yeah. So why this is such a big deal is, there's a lot of trust in a company like Apple, which doesn't have as much volatility right now as some of these regional banks do.
There you go. That was the reason why I included it. Is I thought, how interesting of a time and opportunity for Apple to do this, where Apple's a name that I trust. I'm in their ecosystem.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the Apple laptop. I have the iPhone. I have 2 iPhones. We got how many Macs around here?
I was actually surprised that you didn't do it just to see what the experience was like.
I don't want to open up an Apple Card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to have an Apple Card in order to do this.
Yeah, so I didn't want to open up an Apple Card. Otherwise, I probably would have.
Yeah.
But I did watch somebody else do it.
I know why you didn't want the Apple Card.
Don't do that.
You know why?
No.
Go ahead, get there faster.
Nope.
Come on. Oh, dude, do you know why he didn't want to get the Apple Card?
I didn't want the additional credit pull, right, Arun?
Nope. He doesn't need that. He's not applying for a house right now.
Do you know? He has a black card.
God damn it.
And what color is the Apple Card?
White.
It's cocaine, actually.
It's the opposite.
It's cocaine.
It's the opposite of what you like. That's right. I get it.
It's a cocaine card.
I mean, it's not a flex when you hand it over. Like, oh, look, I got an Apple Card.
It's really not a flex when you hand over a black card. It's really not.
Come on.
It's not. There's been maybe 1 or 2 times I think I've talked about even on the show that somebody's actually said something or noticed.
So then why are you getting that black card tattoo that you told me about?
I'm not getting a black card tattoo.
You told me why. You said you're going to get it right across your chest.
No.
Yep.
No, it must be other friends with black cards. See how common they are these days? You forget.
Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've got like 5 or 6 friends with them. Doesn't your boy Cyrus have like money like that?
Oh.
Yeah. If he doesn't have a black card.
Cyrus has a black card. 100%
Okay.
he does.
There you go.
We got to have him. We got to have him on the show.
Very,
he'd
very
be a
common.
Great guest. He was actually one of the friends of mine that told me back in the day how much he loved First Republic and that they rolled out the red carpet for him.
They did. And honestly, First Republic was not a bad model. They're getting demonized right now, but I think they were a good bank. I really do.
He honestly would be a great guest.
He would be a phenomenal guest. I'll reach out to him, see if he's willing to come on.
Can we check to see if he has a black card first?
100%. He doesn't even need a black card, bro. Cash, straight cash.
Okay, hold on a second. What does he doesn't need a black card mean?
You know when you're balling that hard to where it's just like it don't even matter. Playing a different game.
You know how Floyd Mayweather doesn't have credit card or anything?
Just
straight
like
cash.
Straight cash on me.
Okay, let's not use that as a financial reference for financial literacy on a show. We're trying to teach people how to make good decisions, okay?
Yeah, clearly we're joking. This is entertainment value.
That guy for sure had a beard implant.
Oh, 100%.
100% he
Pulled
did.
straight from his pubes onto his face.
Wow. That is not
it looks
verified.
like it looks like it though, right?
It does not look good. I would not have gone with that reference because I value our listeners and I don't want to.
Oh my goodness!
I don't want to
Who is
discuss
it?
them.
What have you turned into?
I've turned into a smarter man than you, clearly.
Yeah.
And Arun pulled it up. Floyd Mayweather hair transplant, and they show his hair and his beard.
What kind of jacket is that? How much do you think you spent on that jacket?
More than you want to know.
Yeah.
Paid through cash.
It looks like Margiela.
How is his hairline perfect?
It's not perfect. It's a little slant in the middle. Yeah, I kind of like him better bald. To be honest with you.
No, it's not. It's only because he's raising his eyebrow.
I can't do that. I got Botox.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Are you still getting Botox shots?
Yeah.
How frequent is that? Is that painful?
Every like 6 weeks.
Is it painful?
I don't really get a whole lot. I get so I have a scar here where they cut the nerve, and so I had a birthmark on my forehead. You know, when I was a kid, people made fun of me, but that wasn't why I had it removed. I had it removed because the doctor said that birthmark, which is a skin discoloration, not a mole, that it could become cancerous later on with sun exposure, and it's really hard to cover your forehead.
Right.
So he's like, at some point we'll remove it. So he removed it, but you can't just cut a circle. You have to cut a top, the bottom, and the sides, and it winds up being a much bigger scar.
Right.
When they cut it, they cut the nerve endings that go like down. I can still raise my eyebrows, which they didn't know that I'd be able to do on that side, but I can't feel a whole lot of pain whenever they do the injections around it.
Oh, really? So okay.
So I don't really know how painful it is. Yeah,
Interesting.
I don't do like crow's feet or stuff like that or anything in the place. I did do my jaw once for like grinding your jaw at night. That was a trip. When they stick the needle in, which is a longer needle, into your chin, it makes like this crunching sound.
Wow.
As they inject like your jawline with Botox.
Dude, I remember so my wife's a dental hygienist, and when she was studying for her boards and taking all of her exams, what they make the students do is like bring in their own patients, like find their own patients.
Yeah.
So what she had to do was she had to get a certain amount of like quote unquote reps in to for injections, and Arun and I would go in, and I literally would get injected like 4 or 5 times at a time.
My wife, registered nurse, she worked at an IV clinic, and I would get IV bags from her all the time. Yeah. So she'd come home, IV bags. She'd like literally just hang it up on like a light and like give me like an IV at home, like just for rehydration. She'd have like minerals and vitamins or whatever in them, you know. Well, one time I'm sitting there, I'm watching television with her. She has my left arm hooked up. I look over my left arm, and my entire vein running from across my left arm had turned like black.
Oh my God!
And I'm like, get it out of me, get it out of me! I'm freaking out, right?
Yeah. What happened? What was it?
Something crystallized in the vein. As soon as it hit I don't know what the hell happened, but my vein was bruised for like the year.
Oh my God!
And it was like dark. And even today, if I'm lean enough again, which I'm.
Have you ever used one of those things like after being like intoxicated?
An IV bag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it? Do you feel like you're recovering like quickly?
I honestly didn't feel like that much better. I mean,
is it worth like the money to do?
So we went. I think the one time I did it, we went. And I don't really drink like that very often, but we did it with the idea that we were going to be able to get an IV the next day.
Yeah.
So we went out drinking, and I had a lot of water that night. I had a lot of water in the morning. By the time we actually got to the IV place, I was relatively sober anyway.
Oh, I see.
But I mean, it certainly feels cool and it's like relaxing, and you can make like a thing out of it. But truly, if you want to be hydrated, that's not in my mind the best way to get water in your system. Just drink water.
No, obviously you wouldn't. That's not what you want to bank on. I'm just saying. But if you needed it,
bank on.
Yeah, bank on. You saw what I did there?
I see what you did there.
Chosen one.
All right. Well, chosen one. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with people tonight?
I got nothing. Just that, for the record, I'm up on you on shoes tonight. -1, +1.
No, that's not true. The Sakai's that Saied is wearing, please show the camera.
They can see. Oh, can the camera see what's going on here?
They look great from the front, but like Saied, they've got a big booty. So the back of them stick out in a really odd and perplexing way.
I love these. I want these in every colorway.
Yeah, well, we can get those for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to upcharge you for ugly shoes, though.
Come on, man.
They got 2 tongues, man.
So do the Travis. What's your point?
They don't have 2 tongues.
Yeah, they do.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. That's how I know you never worn them yet.
I haven't worn them yet. I think my Travis do.
1.
All right, we'll see.
I know. I've got like 5 pairs of them, bro. I know it's 1.
Oh, you're gonna feel really bad when I find out that there's 2.
Flex. I don't know if the shoes for Adam are gonna arrive before the show.
Oh, is he gonna hear this? He doesn't listen to the show anymore.
I don't know. But that's it. So Saied pulled it up. Let's end the show on this. So this is the Star Wars by Wes Anderson trailer called The Galactic Menagerie that has been making the rounds on social media, and I fucking love it. So let's say goodnight now, and then we'll play this.
Also, real quick, when does this episode drop?
Next Thursday.
This will be episode 1.
No. This episode's gonna drop Tuesday.
We don't drop episodes on Thursday, Chief.
Yeah,
only Tuesdays and Fridays.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's not ask him about episodes dropping.
I'm literally looking at the date. And
when this
I know
episode,
it's 3 minutes away from my
when this episode's drop, we will be at Mind Pump.
Oh yeah, on the 9th. Yeah. So this is episode 140.
This is one episode 139.
No, because the last one's 139. 138 is the one that's coming out tomorrow.
Let me fact
who
check.
cares? Whatever. Let's play the Galactic Menagerie. Say goodbye now, and then we'll play this.
Good night, everybody.
I thought you were gonna do like a Star Wars theme one.
What's the Star Wars theme one?
You know.
Everybody, good night.
A little R2D2. That was terrible.
No, that was backwards. Yoda says things backwards.
No, that everybody good night.
Yeah, good night, everybody. Then doesn't he like flip the sentences usually? So I said the back part
Should
first.
I just mute him?
Yeah, just mute his mic. Go ahead and play the clip.
Dumbass Yoda.
That was terrible.
Prepare for a reboot like never before. This summer, Wes Anderson brings you a side of the Star Wars universe you've never seen before, the Galactic Menagerie. Join this ragtag crew of unlikely heroes as they navigate the absurdity of the cosmos, challenge the Empire, and redefine what it means to be a rebel.
Our mission is simple. We steal the Emperor's artifact, save the galaxy, and maybe find ourselves along the way.
For this mission, we'll need lightsaber, blaster, thermal detonator, paper airplane, spare parts, and R2-D2.
With a star-studded ensemble featuring the galaxy's most eccentric cast, the Galactic Menagerie is the most delightfully offbeat Star Wars adventure yet. Starring Timothée Chalamet, Scarlett Johansson, Edward Norton, Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum, William Dafoe, Adrian Brody, and Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Coming to theaters this summer, may the Force be with you.
How awesome is that? Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.